Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1.
Houston, we have a problem.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue.
What you're seeing here is a mirage.
Are you ready? Debate fans, are you ready? For the handful in attendance and the thousands watching across the world, brought to you tonight by Jeranism, the #1 YouTube channel in all of existence. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Make sure your argument is tight. Wait, what? You must got proof if you so right. Wait, what? Don't get dismissed on false claims, cause you gotta bring the truths in the facts. It don't matter if we talking about racism, sexism, scientism, paganism, socialism, communism. Talk about capitalism, atheism, globalism. What about creationism? It don't matter what the ism. Live on Debatism.
Welcome everybody to Debatism, episode number X10. We've got Craig from Fight the Flat Earth, FTFE, and we've got FLATZOID'S perspective. Coriolis force, is it a force, an effect, an illusion? We will find out. Let's get to the main screen here. 1 second. All right, there we go. And you guys switched again. Thanks a lot for screwing with it again. All right, there we go. Let's start with Craig. Say hello to everybody, Craig, and tell them, I don't know, why you are the way you are, please.
I'm Craig from the YouTube channel FTFE. If you want to go and check out my stuff, then just search FTFE. I've been enjoying the debates recently. I am very excited to be involved in promoting the final experiment, sending some possibly flat earther and globe earthers to Antarctica, and I hope to see more flat earthers getting involved in that.
Thank you for that. You getting paid for saying that or what? All right.
Yeah,
and FLATZOID, say hello to everybody.
Hey, I'm FLATZOID'S perspective. Good to see you guys. Yeah, the Earth's flat, and I'm just here to educate some ignorant globers here.
Nice. And FTFE, do you realize that you're here to debate FLATZOID?
No, I'm not here to debate. Why would I come to a debate?
Well, don't be surprised. Last time we had the show, you had Bob the Science Guy who said during the debate, I'm not here to debate you, FLATZOID.
Well,
so I'm just making sure you understand.
I see these as debates. It's very hard to debate established facts, but I like to treat it as a debate, and I enjoy the conversation. Yep. I'm not going to come here and say I'm not debating you because I call it a debate, you call it a debate, FLATZOID calls it a debate. So if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, then it's probably a duck. Just
we all laugh at Simon Dan when he says that, and then you come on and say the exact same thing. It's hilarious. Think of all things to say.
Yeah, but at least I debate, right?
That's it. You said it, not me. All right, let's get started. We're going to be starting with the Coriolis first. Let me get the coin toss on the screen. If you're interested in debating, you can go to t.me/debatism, although the show is going to be taking a little bit, kind of a slow down little break for a little while, so don't expect it every Tuesday. Wait, what do we have? Oh, sorry. Did I see what's going on there? We have to move this over. All right, and we'll let FLATZOID pick this time. FLATZOID, do you pick modern day debates or Debatism X?
Always Debatism X.
I agree. Let's see what we get. It'll probably be, let's see. Come on. Yeah, you got picked right. All right. You want to go first or second?
Yeah, I'll go first. Sure.
Okay, he's going to go first. You got just a minute intro, and you can start whenever you're ready.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks. This is going to be fun. Thank you, Jaron, for this. Thank you, Craig, for showing up. Tonight, I'm just going to hold your toes to the fire because there is no observable Coriolis effect. I'm going to test you on, do you know the difference between Coriolis effect and Coriolis force? And is it observable? And can you actually evidently prove it to us? Obviously, you have the burden of proof because you are claiming that the Earth is rotating and we do observe Coriolis, even though we're sitting here knowing that we do not observe, therefore, rotation. So that's all I've got to say. Thanks.
Okay, very good. And we've got FTFE, go ahead and start when you want. Get a minute.
Yeah, so I just want everyone to know in advance that I have prepared a script. I prepared a script because I know the things that FLATZOID is going to say. So there'll be several times during this debate that I will be reading from the screen to my left because I have in advance prepared things that I will say because I know the things that FLATZOID will say. Yes, I am streaming on my channel, but it will be shut down. I will not be talking to the chat. So I am purely here with my own thing, but I've prepared a script in advance. Everything that FLATZOID will say about Coriolis and flight mechanics will be a straw man. And it will be my job here to correct his straw mans and explain the actual physics behind the things we are talking about. I'm very excited to get into this as more content for FLATZOID's upcoming episode of Purpose Idiots will be amazing.
All righty. Thank you very much. We forgot to do the buzzers, so luckily it's quick. You guys know how to do it, so I'm going to give you the link in the chat real quick.
Yeah.
Let me put an HTTP in front of it so you can see if that works. And then just remember, put your names in at the top, and you can each give me a sample, make sure that we're good to go. Let me get myself out of here. Oops. Hold on, I gotta do this real quick. Sorry, we forgot to set up the buzzers.
Already in there, so let me just.
We gotta go this one and this one.
Buzz.com.
1 second, I don't think you'll be able to ring in yet because I have this.
Okay, mine works.
Hold on 1 second. Let me get back to mine. Okay, I don't see either of you. What do you mean? You both put in your names?
Yeah.
Yeah, my name's right there, and I click buzz.
ATD. Hold on. Oh, I see.
Otherwise, if you want,
I see. There you go. We're good.
Hands up or something.
No, we're good. Go ahead and buzz in each of you. Just a second. Well, one of you first.
I think you need to reset it.
Reset. Okay, I heard FTFE, and then.
Yeah, mine works.
Okay, sounds good. Yep, both of you got it. All right, let me change this real quick to. It should be on lockout buzzer. There we go. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's get it started with FLATZOID. You start your clock at 30 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay. I think I'll start sharing the screen.
Okay.
Just want to move. See, where's my. Oh, never mind. I won't share screen now. I'll share it later. But anyway, based on Coriolis, Craig, do you know that there are 2 reference frames for Coriolis? Would you know which reference frame we would have to be on to observe Coriolis effect?
Yes. Could you tell us?
Yeah, would you be able to elaborate further for us? Because I'm not sure.
Oh, no, I just asked you if you could. I answered your question, and then I asked the question, could you tell us? So if you could tell us what the reference frames are, that'd be wonderful.
Okay, cool. So we're going to do what Bob did. Fine, I'll do the same for you.
Well, no,
because Craig doesn't know what a reference system is in a Coriolis effect, I will explain to him. You get 2 reference frames. We would be on the non-inertial reference frame. That would be the rotating reference frame. Observing something in the inertial reference frame, moving linearly, having an apparent deviation as we move underneath it. This would not be an actual deflection, it would be an apparent deflection. So as the object is moving in a straight line, it will only appear to take a curved path. It doesn't take an actual curved path, it appears to. Now my question to you is, since you don't know that there's 2 reference frames, have we ever observed this, Craig, on Earth?
Sorry, you're muted. Go ahead.
Yeah, have we ever observed what?
Coriolis effect.
Yes, absolutely, yes.
Can you show us where?
Storm systems, ballistics, snipers. There's many ways to show that the Coriolis is there. The thing is that you will deny that they are caused by Coriolis, but according to the globe model, and of course you don't want to strawman the globe model, Coriolis would cause storm systems to rotate the way they do. Coriolis would cause deflections of ballistic, which has to be literally adjusted for by the people firing the ballistics. So yeah, there absolutely is observable, noticeable, calculable Coriolis. Yeah, absolutely. Do me a favor, FLATZOID, could you define, according to the globe model, what Coriolis is?
an apparent deviation in the inertial reference frame as we, on the non-inertial reference frame, watches it to appear to deviate.
And what would be, according to the globe model, because of course you don't want to strawman it, what would be the causal mechanism behind the drift of Coriolis? Obviously, the Earth is rotating. So if the Earth is rotating, what is the causal mechanism for Coriolis?
Us moving in the inertial reference frame, in the non-inertial reference frame.
Okay, so you didn't know the answer. The answer is the conservation of momentum, which is wonderful. Another question
Thanks
for you. A quick question for you. Are we in just the non-inertial reference frame, or do we exist in all reference frames all of the time?
Okay, before we move on to that, guys, he just literally showed he doesn't know what Coriolis effect was. If you're claiming conservation of momentum, are you claiming angular momentum or linear momentum? And by the way, if you are claiming conservation of momentum, you therefore have conceded that there is no deviation apparent, because if there was an apparent deviation, we would see drift. You are claiming we don't see drift due to the conservation of momentum, therefore relinquishing any idea that there is an observed Coriolis.
Well, that's a straw man of what I said, because I literally said we do observe drift. So it's incredible you would then say that I didn't. But anyway, the question that I asked, I wonder if you could answer it. Do we exist in just one reference frame, or do we exist in all reference frames all of the time?
One reference frame. We're not omnipresent.
Okay, right. Okay, so you don't understand reference frames. That's wonderful. No worries. Just so you know, within the globe model and according to physics, we exist in all reference frames all of the time. That's how it works. You can, of course, differentiate and calculate from one reference frame to the other, but we exist in all reference frames always. Everything does. You don't understand physics. It's cool. No worries.
Okay.
That's no problem at all. Right. So according to the globe model, Flatzoid, could you explain to me what would happen to a ballistic projectile fired north from the equator? What is the expected result according to the globe model of that ballistic projectile fired north from the equator?
Before we do that, you just made a claim that we are omnipresent and in all reference frames at the same time. So, guys, this is so idiotic. He claims we can be on an airplane and on the ground, observing the airplane deviate while we're on the airplane, watching the ground. That's how idiotic his argument is. So can you reiterate to us how we are omnipresent to be in all reference frames at the same time, please?
Didn't say we were omnipresent, but physics says that we are in all reference frames at all times, because we can compare ourselves to anything else that is moving at any time. It's not my fault if you don't understand that, but I noticed that you avoided my question. So I just wonder if you could answer that instead of answering a different question.
Okay, I'm going to ask again. Since you claim we are in all reference frames at the same time, do you know the difference between a inertial reference frame and a non-inertial reference frame?
Go ahead.
Yeah, Jaren. I don't know if you noticed, but every time I ask a question, he responds by just asking a different question. I wonder, as the moderator, if you could ask Flatzoid to answer the questions that I'm putting to him instead of asking a different question, because it's pointless and impossible to have a conversation if no questions are going to be asked. I will gladly answer any question that Flatzoid answers, but I would appreciate the same from him. Is that okay?
Sure, go ahead, ask it again.
Right, so Flatzoid,
you don't even
according to the globe model, and you can stop screen sharing because I'm currently talking, if that's okay, Flatzoid.
No, the reason I'm showing this is because you're obfuscating from the point.
Jeranism, we're trying to stop screen sharing.
Yeah, but nothing's being shown on the screen, so you're just letting it.
Yeah, they can't see it.
Right, okay. Right, so Flatzoid, my question to you is, again, according to the globe model, and of course you don't want to strawman the globe model, according to the globe model, what is the predicted result of firing a projectile from the equator north? what is the expected thing, according to the globe model, that will happen to that projectile?
We'll see apparent deviation.
In which way?
Opposite to Earth's rotation. But now you are going back from obfuscating because you made a claim about reference frames. So I'm going to keep you on. I'm still
Did he not answer your question?
I did, yes.
Well, he failed to answer the question.
No, there's no failure. This isn't a test, though. This is not a test, right? It doesn't matter for his argument. It doesn't matter if he knows the exact deviation. He doesn't have to straw man. He doesn't have to steel man your entire argument.
I just want to make sure that we're having the same conversation.
Okay, so it deviates in a direction. I mean, does he have to get it?
But he just said that he just showed that he doesn't understand Coriolis. He just said it deviates the opposite way to Earth's rotation, which is incorrect. The predicted result of firing a projectile north from the equator on the globe model is that that projectile will go ahead of Earth's rotation due to the conservation of momentum. Okay. That is the prediction of Coriolis according to the globe model. If you disagree with that, then you are strawmanning Coriolis on the globe model.
No, he said there was deviation. I think that's a good enough answer. At least he understands that. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. So we're going back to, I'm going to share my screen so I can show Craig to be running away from reference frames again. Is it showing?
Yep.
Okay, guys. This is on a merry-go-round, and the guy is going to be showing a Coriolis effect demonstration. First of all, he's going to show he's just throwing the ball straight. You see nothing's moving. The ball is going straight. From the top, you see with the drone, because he's got a drone hovering across, it's just going straight. That is keeping its linear path. Now he's going to spin the merry-go-round, okay? He's got the drone ahead, and he's going to spin it. See, the drone is spinning with the rotating platform to show how it is moving with it. So now you can see if the drone on top is not spinning with him, he's on the rotating reference frame. So in other words, the guy on the moving merry-go-round is in the non-inertial reference frame, and he's going to throw a ball. According to the spinning non-inertial reference frame, see the drone spinning with him. What's happening to that ball? Is having an apparent deviation. See how it's appearing to make a deflection. Okay? Now, let's move to where the drone is not turning with the merry-go-round. Okay? Craig? Okay, it's still moving with it. I just want to go to where it's not showing. Okay, it's not. I wanted to get it. Can't seem to find it. It's in here somewhere. But anyway, do we see that deviation, Craig? There we go. See the drone's not moving with him? Is he throwing the ball straight? Yes. That ball is keeping up with its momentum straight, Craig. Again?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The ball's going straight. It's not actually deviating. Did you see that? So that's all I need to show. So now you have to tell us, do we observe deviation on Earth? And if so, then you can't claim we have more than one. Then you can't claim we're on all reference frames at once.
We are on Earth, and we see the deviation because we are on Earth. Like that guy on the roundabout, when he throws the ball, from his point of view, that ball deviates. That ball moves because he is on the thing that is rotating. So for him, there is a calculable force that can be applied to that ball because it is a mass accelerating. And it's the same on Earth. If you are on Earth, because of the conservation of momentum, you will see a deviation if something is moving linearly. That is what we expect. Okay? The nonsense that you're bringing up, just trying to, word salad your misunderstanding of reference frames is irrelevant. You showed you don't understand reference frames by not acknowledging the fact that according to physics, we exist in all reference frames at all times. So it's fine. You don't have the knowledge to do with reference frames. That's no worries. You can learn, but don't pretend you understand when you don't know the basics. On Earth, the Coriolis force is calculable. It is used. It is needed to be calculated when you fire ballistics, when snipers fire their things. It is needed to be calculated when it is, something is moving. There is a force applied to something. So I'm going to quickly explain how the Coriolis force works on Earth, because you don't understand, and you do need to be educated in this fact. Right. So let's imagine we are on the equator. And obviously, we are rotating with the Earth because we are on the equator. So we have a tangential velocity of approximately 1,000 miles an hour. Everyone knows that. That is the approximate tangential velocity at the equator, 1,000 miles an hour. So a big cannon sitting on the equator with the cannonball inside that cannon are all moving at 1,000 miles an hour to the right, because that's what the tangential velocity of Earth is at that point. Now, when that cannonball is fired from the cannon, as it leaves the cannon, it has that momentum of 1,000 miles an hour. However, because the Earth is a sphere, and as you travel north, the line of latitude gets smaller and smaller. That means that each part of the Earth is traveling with tangential velocity that is slower the further you go north. The cannonball has 1,000 miles an hour as its momentum that it conserves according to Newton's laws. But as it moves north, it will go into an area which underneath it is traveling slower. So it moves north, the area below it is now traveling 900 miles an hour. That means that the cannonball has a tangential velocity to the right that is greater than the Earth's surface below it. That means there will be a calculable drift to the right if you fire something north from the equator. That means it will drift ahead of the Earth's rotation. And this is all due to the conservation of momentum. You can't really debate that. That is just how it is. And if you disagree, then you are bringing up a straw man. It's as simple as that. That is what Coriolis is. What are your thoughts on that, FLATZOID?
Okay, great. Thank you, Craig. I'm going to say this again. Do you understand? We have two reference frames for Coriolis. You just made a claim that we do see deviation, but claiming conservation of momentum. Remember, I also asked you, is it angular momentum or linear momentum? You failed to answer that. Now I'm going to ask you once again, are we on the non-inertial reference frame or the inertial reference frame, Craig? And do we ever actually observe this deviation you are claiming? Because I can bring up another actual observation that shows we are not having a rotation underneath of things not attached to the Earth.
Are you finished? Yeah. So your question was, are we in a non-inertial or the inertial reference frame? The answer is we are in the non-inertial reference frame because we are on the thing that is moving. Next. And I noticed again that you avoided answering my question. I explained to you what Coriolis was, and I just wanted your thoughts on that. I explained the causal mechanism behind Coriolis, and I asked FLATZOID, what's your thoughts on that? And you responded by asking a different question. So I'll go back to my question. FLATZOID, what are your thoughts on my explanation of the causal mechanism behind Coriolis?
Yes, you're explaining what you believe it to be, but contradicting what it is. So I'm going to ask you, based on your argument, if we fly from Charlotte, North Carolina to LA non-stop, okay, traveling at 500 miles an hour, okay, with it's about 35-degree north latitude. Now, the Earth is spinning at about 860 miles per hour. The flight should be, 1.5 hours, but it's 4.5 hours long. Why is this?
Jet streams. You just strawmanned Coriolis because a plane is not ballistic. A plane has engines which counteract the tiny, tiny, tiny Coriolis force applied.
Great. So there's no
any difference in flight times isn't due to the Coriolis force. It's due to jet streams. That's it. Because the Earth's atmosphere rotates with the Earth, and the plane is using the atmosphere to fly, and it has an engine. So again, you just demonstrated your misunderstanding of Coriolis and how it's applied.
So planes fly backwards now.
No one said that.
Yeah, that's what you're saying. You're saying it moves with Velcroed air.
I never said it flies backwards.
That would mean it flies backwards, right?
No, relative surface.
Okay, if the plane is following Earth's rotation while it is flying in the opposite direction, is it flying backwards, Craig? Because it can't keep up with Earth's rotation.
It doesn't need to keep up with Earth's rotation because the atmosphere is moving with the Earth. And again, the plane is flying relative to Earth's surface. The plane never flies backwards relative to Earth's surface.
So no apparent deviation to claim Coriolis. Yes, I agree.
You just misunderstood what Coriolis was. Why would you say there's no apparent deviation with my explanation? Please explain that.
Because you said it moves in lockstep with the Earth. So no observed Coriolis.
No one says that the atmosphere moving with the Earth is anything to do with Coriolis. Again, the atmosphere moving with the Earth means that there will be no Coriolis forces applied to it unless there's wind, and then that's moving. The atmosphere is moving with the Earth in the same reference frame as the Earth. So Coriolis is when something is moving relative to the surface of the Earth. The atmosphere in general isn't moving relative to the Earth's surface. So to say there's no Coriolis is just a pure misunderstanding of Coriolis. However, storm systems are an example of Coriolis. In general, the atmosphere rotates with the Earth. However, when there are differences in pressure on Earth's surface in the atmosphere, that causes the atmosphere, whilst it's moving, to have subsystems that also move with the Earth. As those subsystems move, those weather systems move across the surface of the Earth, they then have a calculable Coriolis force applied to them, which is why strong enough storm systems become cyclones and why they also die when they cross the equator. Flatzoid, I'm sorry, but your knowledge of Coriolis is zero. You are demonstrating this with the things you are saying, like that what you just said about the atmosphere.
Great. I'm going to reiterate what Craig just said. Contradict, and more contradict. He said the atmos does move with the Earth, in other words, Velcroed atmosphere, and then claims it doesn't, and then claims we do have observed Coriolis, but we don't observe Coriolis because of the Velcroed atmosphere, and then goes on to ad hom me and tell me I don't understand because he just says he doesn't see Coriolis, which I said making my point. That is the reiteration of what Craig just showed. So again, Craig, please can you explain to everybody how, first of all, air can be Velcroed to anything because air doesn't stick to objects. Also, how you can claim Coriolis and apparent deviation while claiming you don't observe this apparent deviation because it moves in lockstep.
Lovely bunch of strawmans and misunderstanding of the globe model. Again, Coriolis applies to things that are moving relative to the Earth's surface. Relative to the Earth's surface. In general, the atmosphere rotates with the Earth. The reason for that is simple. It's always been rotating with the Earth. As the Earth formed, so did the atmosphere. It was all rotating together. Conservation of momentum, friction, and gravity keeps it moving. There's no reason it would stop moving with the Earth. However, storm systems can still exist within the moving atmosphere. Just like the ocean can have currents that move, but the ocean is still an entire thing. The atmosphere, that in general rotates with the Earth, has storm systems that move as they are rotating relative to Earth's surface. Your misunderstanding of that is irrelevant. So, you know, it's not my fault that you don't understand how Coriolis works or even what Coriolis is. Coriolis doesn't say that the atmosphere shouldn't move with the Earth. That's not what Coriolis says. That is a straw man that you have made up about Coriolis. And that's okay. You can straw man Coriolis as much as you want. I don't need to respond to straw mans. All I need to do is explain to you why you're wrong, which is what I'm doing.
Okay, so we're going to say this again. I don't know why we have to do this with all the Globers. You're claiming we have Coriolis deviation while claiming we don't have Coriolis deviation because it all moves together relative with the Earth. So therefore, no observed Coriolis deflection. Craig?
Again, that's a straw man, and you just repeated the straw man that I just explained.
How is that a straw man? Sorry.
Because the atmosphere is moving with the Earth. Nobody says that according to Coriolis, it shouldn't. But things move relative to Earth's surface. Coriolis is when things move relative to Earth's surface.
Great. Thanks. I'm going to say this again. It can't be a straw man, and I think you would agree with me, Jeran, and everybody watching this. The guy is double speaking, contradicting himself, claiming Coriolis deviation, which requires 2 reference frames, and then talks about fighting that we don't see deviation.
Yeah, again, straw man. We do see deviation when things are moving relative to Earth's surface. Nobody says, in general, the atmosphere moves relative to Earth's surface unless it's a moving storm system, which is still rotating with the Earth, but also moving as it's rotating. Coriolis is only applied to things that move relative to Earth's surface. The straw man you keep saying about, well, there's no deviation then, is pointless. Yes, there is deviation to things that move relative to the Earth's surface, moving storm systems, moving projectiles. The atmosphere in general that rotates with the Earth, there's no reason there should be Coriolis. And your misunderstanding of reference frames can be explained simply. Reference frame 1, non-inertial reference frame, us on the Earth. Reference frame 2, inertial reference frame, outside of the Earth looking at Earth. There is 2 reference frames, but the non-inertial reference frame is Earth because everything is moving with Earth, and then things move relative to the surface as they're moving with Earth. Coriolis is applied to things moving relative to a rotating surface, not moving with it.
Yeah, I'm going to share screen again. And before I share screen, would you agree that the stars and the moon are moving in different orbits on your model?
The stars and the moon moving in different orbits on our model. Well, the stars don't orbit us.
But the moon orbits?
The moon orbits us once every 28 days, yeah.
Okay. So we are on the non-inertial reference frame, and the stars and the moon are in the inertial reference frame.
If we were on the moon looking at the Earth, then relative to the Earth, we would be in the inertial reference frame.
No, I said we are on the non-inertial reference frame.
Yeah, and yes, I agreed. I said yes.
Okay.
We are on, but if we were on the moon looking at Earth, then we would be in the inertial reference frame.
And what happens now when I'm flying in a drone, with a drone above the Earth's surface, okay? And I see the stars and the moon moving, and the moon and the stars move in different speeds.
What's your question?
Does that show apparent deviation because of Earth's rotation, or that it's not the Earth rotating, it's the stars and the moon moving?
Well, we are rotating. Also, the moon is rotating, orbiting us. The stars, because they're so far away, maintain their relative position to us. Again, you're misunderstanding what Coriolis is. Mathematically, you could calculate a Coriolis force applied to a star moving across the sky. All right, but that's because it would be moving relative to the Earth's surface. But that's not what Coriolis is or what the causal mechanism behind it is. And your question is irrelevant to the fact that we can and do see deviation on Earth of Coriolis. The fact that people that fire ballistics have to account for the Coriolis shows that there is Coriolis. If you don't think there's Coriolis, then I would have to ask you this one very simple question. Why do naval gunners that fire ballistic projectiles have to account for Coriolis?
Yeah, back to where we were. You didn't answer me. So I'm going to ask again.
I did answer you.
Did we observe Coriolis?
Jaron, did I answer him?
I'm listening to him. I ask you again. Go ahead.
Did we observe Coriolis when the moon and the stars are moving while we were hovering with the drone, right?
I literally answered that question.
Was it a yes or a no? That's what I'm asking.
I said mathematically we could calculate what the Coriolis force was.
No, I asked observe, not calculate. Observed it.
I was literally about to have the word observe in my sentence, but you, of course, had to butt in. Based on the observation of the moon and the stars moving, we could mathematically calculate a Coriolis force because they are moving relative to the Earth's surface. But that question is irrelevant. So, I answered your question. It's done. So now stop avoiding the questions that I ask you and please respond.
He said, "Would we observe it?" Can you just answer that part though?
Yes, we do observe it.
Okay,
yeah, absolutely. I said that very clearly, and I said that we could calculate what the apparent force would be based on the fact that it's moving relative to the Earth's surface. So yeah, I mean, that's all irrelevant to what Coriolis actually is and how it works. So
Do you know the
simple
issue
question. Simple question to you, Flatzoid, right? And please don't run away from the question. Just focus and answer the question. If Coriolis is not real, why do naval gunners, when they fire ballistic projectiles, have to account for Coriolis?
Okay, we're still busy with my argument. When we're done with my argument, we'll move on to your...
Aaron, I'm sorry, I've answered his. Could you please
Craig,
answer my
with
question?
the drone...
You can bring a buzzer if you want to take over.
With the drone, we were in the inertial reference frame. Why did we still observe the stars and the moon moving and not the ground? Because we were no longer in the non-inertial reference frame in the drone.
Yeah, right. I answered his question, and then I asked him another question, and he's ignored it. Jaren, as the mod, I'm please going to ask that you insist.
He was on a certain line of questioning, though. He was questioning you on a certain line.
But I answered his question. I answered his question, and now I'm asking him a question.
What do you want him to know, Craig?
I responded to him. I gave him a yes, and I explained my answer. Now I'm asking him a question. All he's doing is avoiding it.
Okay, go ahead. You can ask it. Go ahead, ask it.
And I would please ask as the mod that you get him to answer. Right. So
Ask
my question, once again, is very simple. If Coriolis is not real, why do naval gunners that fire ballistic projectiles have to account for Coriolis?
Okay, before we move on to that, like I said, Craig, I was still busy with my argument. You running away and obfuscating is simple. We were in the non...
Can you answer his question and then ask him that after?
Yeah, okay, I'll do it just because he's...
Just thank you for that. Thank you, I appreciate that.
Okay, so they don't.
That's wrong. They absolutely do. I have fired ballistic projectiles from naval gunning from naval ships, and I've had to correct for Coriolis. There are charts and correction tables that naval gunners use. To say they don't is ignoring the fact that they clearly do. What do you base your nutter on?
Simple. Didn't you claim you were a nuclear physicist? And now you say you...
No, I said I was a nuclear engineer on submarines, but I also served on surface ships, specifically HMS Westminster.
Ah, so you was a potato feeder, guys. Okay.
Flatzoid, if you need to use that buzzer again, just wave your hands at me.
Okay.
You have one left. That's the only one left. Go ahead.
Awesome, thanks, man. So I'm going to say again, no, they do not account for Coriolis. They account for wind, barrel roll, and drop. That is what they do. You are claiming the wind is Coriolis, because if you actually look at the manuals, they actually say the wind is the cause for Coriolis, so therefore the deflection is caused by the wind, not the Earth rotation. But back to where my argument was, because you so lovely... I'm still talking. I'm still talking, thank you. Because also, while you are obfuscating from my actual argument, the drone is in the inertial reference frame, still observing the moon and the stars also in the inertial reference frame, showing movement and deviation, while the Earth is not. Can you please tell us how that is accounted for in your Coriolis claim for Earth's movement?
Oops, sorry.
So we are on the Earth. Anything that we see on the Earth moving relative to the Earth, ballistics, weather systems, even the moon and the stars moving relative to Earth, which we view from Earth, we could calculate the apparent Coriolis force on them. You are just mixing up reference frames here. We are on the Earth.
Gotcha.
From the...
Go ahead.
Thanks.
Oops. Let me do that. You're good. I believe. Oh, you got muted. There you go. Sorry.
Okay, there. That was my last buzzer. Thanks. I'm going to say it again, Craig. The drone is in the inertial reference frame, not on Earth in the non-inertial reference frame. We still see the apparent deviation of the moon and the stars while we are in the inertial reference frame, aka the drone, not attached to Earth's moving reference frame. Do you understand the difference?
Is the drone hovering directly above the Earth without moving linearly? Yes or no?
Yes, but
And
it
then
can move. I'm still talking, but it could move linearly and still gives exactly the same thing. When we look at airplanes, when we sit in an airplane and we fly across the sky, we see the moon and stars and the sun still move across the sky, Craig. The Earth doesn't.
the sky. We're on the Earth. There's no reason the Earth would move across the sky. Right. So if the drone is hovering with the Earth and just hovering above the surface of the Earth and rotating with it, then it is in the same reference frame as the Earth. It's not in a different reference frame. Well, apart from the fact that it exists in all reference frames at the time, but talking about this specifically, the drone, if it is just hovering above the Earth, is in the same reference frame as the Earth. So you could still look at the stars and the moon and calculate the apparent Coriolis force. Now, if that drone starts moving linearly compared to the Earth, you would then have to add that movement to your calculations and say, right, well, this movement that we see is due to the drone. And we take that away, and then we can say, right, well, if we've taken away that movement from the drone, then we can see what the movement is relative to the non-inertial reference frame. But if we're looking at the drone as it's moving, and looking at the stars and stuff still moving relative to the drone, that is just a movement relative to the drone and is nothing to do with the Earth's Coriolis, because the drone is just looking at stars. So again, your question is irrelevant. Right, so now I would like to share my screen and show that you lied or were just ignorant about the claims of what naval gunners do. Jaren, is it okay if I share my screen?
Yep.
Right, just give me one sec. Right, let's share. Okay.
Okay, it's on there.
Let me make sure it's on my side as well. One sec. That's not showing up for me. I'll just show it from here. Right. So, this is the 16-inch range table for naval gunning, and I have to go all the way down and find it. In fact, you know what? We'll just search rotation, see what we get. Wait, where is it? Earth. No, this doesn't. That search doesn't work. So we just actually go down and find it. Right, so here we go. Yeah, on table 1, 571-1 brackets 53, table 1, we have 10 effective rotation of the Earth. And then if we go down and look at the tables, we've got the curvature of the Earth tables, we've got the projectile calculations as we go further down, and it explains that due to the rotation of the Earth that you have to adjust a certain amount. It talks several times all the way through this about both the curvature of the Earth, the radius of the Earth, and the rotation of the Earth that you absolutely 100% have to take into account for calculating your projectile shots. That isn't the only one. There's many other. In fact, if you just go to mctoon.net/Coriolis-artillery, there's a whole bunch of tables that show the curvature, the affecting yards of range due to the rotation of the Earth And there's no mention of it being due to wind, like FLATZOID claimed. All these tables that the military use, both American military, British military, I've got one for Australian military, they all show that ballistics have to take into account the range drift due to the rotation of the Earth. And if they don't take this into account, then they don't hit their target. So FLATZOID, would you like to explain why you claimed they don't take the rotation of the Earth and Coriolis into account when clearly the tables indicate that they do?
I explained it to you already. It's wind deflection. It's the wind caused by the said rotation. Craig, that's the Coriolis effect. You might want to realize.
Point out where it says documents.
Well, I'm still talking. You might want to realize that Coriolis effect is just an apparent deviation. It's not actual. Remember, I said in the beginning, I'm going to show you exactly. You don't understand the difference between Coriolis force and Coriolis effect. The Coriolis effect is due to the wind. Okay, the wind is what's giving its deflection. They call it Earth Coriolis. Craig, you might need to learn that. Even in flight dynamics, it's the same thing. It's the wind deflection caused by Earth's rotation, as they put it. We are able to totally dismantle that because how air moves based on high and low pressure systems. Notice how Craig is giggling with because he is so nervous he can't take this. So again, Craig, I'm going to put it back to you. Can you please provide us any evidence that we do observe Coriolis deflection when you just claimed we do not see it because Earth and air move together? When you claim Coriolis, you need to see the deviation. We don't see it. And no, they don't use these calculations in actual war simulations because by the time they actually try to do so, they will be dead. So one last time, you need to prove that air can stick to objects and that air is able to pick up momentum, which violates the first law of thermodynamics, and show us deviation where there is no deviation, as you claim there is no deviation because you're fighting for no Coriolis. Thanks.
Wow. Oh my God. There was so much wrong with what you just said. Number one, no. Nowhere in these tables does it say anything about wind. You made that up. Number two, no. The Coriolis effect is not the wind. I'm going to ask for a citation for that, like a direct citation that says the Coriolis effect is the wind. But I'm going to first explain what the Coriolis effect and the Coriolis force is and the difference between them. So the Coriolis effect is my example of the projectile firing north from the equator. The Coriolis effect is the fact that it will drift ahead of the Earth's rotation due to the conservation of momentum. That is the effect. The effect is caused by the Coriolis force, which is the calculable force because the mass is accelerating in a particular way. The effect is caused by the force. You just said one of the dumbest things regarding Coriolis I've ever heard, and you keep going on that straw man about, well, if the atmosphere is rotating, then there's no Coriolis. No, that's not what Coriolis says. That is a straw man of Coriolis. Things moving relative to the rotating surface have Coriolis forces applied to them. The atmosphere in general rotates with the Earth. Storm systems that move due to pressure differences, they are also rotating with the Earth, but they move as they rotate. And because they are moving as they rotate, they have Coriolis applied to them. And that's why ballistics have Coriolis applied to them. The claim that they don't directly goes against the fact the military do use them. They do use them in war. They are included in the calculations in war because if you don't take those calculations into account, you don't hit your target. So what I'm going to do now, I've answered all of your questions. And so now it's my question, and I want you to focus on just answering my question. I want you to give me a citation that directly says the Coriolis effect is because of the wind. Please and thank you.
Is my screen up?
Yep. I'll share it now.
Okay, Craig, these are naval officers talking to each other. I want you to actually read what's going on now. Range and deflection corrections for wind and target firing ship motion can vary drastically depending upon the characteristics of the gun and the magnitude of the wind and speed one is experiencing. These corrections are discussed in detail in any number of textbooks on ballistics and fire control. To give you some idea of the orders of magnitude involved, for a fairly typical big gun at a range of about 20,000 yards, range might expect it to change about 7 yards per knot of headwind or tailwind, about 10 yards per knot of ship speed along the plane of fire, and about 17 yards per knot of target motion in the plane of fire. These sorts of corrections are needed to get the gun on target when conditions do not match the zero wind, zero gun, zero target motionally, usually assumed in range tables. So for a 10 knot headwind, they might expect to see the projectile fall about 70 yards short. This is of course corrected by very slightly increasing the angle of departure. The increase of range of 70 yards might increase the angle of departure, blah, 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 blah. The point is, there is no Coriolis, mate. It's wind. Also, you need to understand when you are on a ship, you are moving. Okay? When you move, it has momentum due to the movement of the ship, Craig. And that's all I need to do to show he doesn't understand physics.
So to show I don't understand physics, you show a conversation talking about corrections due to wind, which nowhere says they don't have Coriolis. It just talks about the corrections due to wind. You ignored the actual military tables that they use when they fire the things. Yes, you are moving. Well, actually, not all the time. In general, when you're firing round, you try to keep the ship as still as possible. But even if you're moving, from the position you fire the projectile, you still have to calculate the Coriolis forces applied. They are in the tables. Every single military gunner uses those tables that include the calculations for corrections due to Coriolis. You are just denying what is there and saying you know more than the military. The military disagree with you. I fired the guns and used those Coriolis corrections. They are used. They are in the tables. They are in the tables for a reason. And again, I notice how you just completely ignored the questions that I put to you, but it's fine. That is what you do. You don't like to answer questions and you just like to strawman things. So what is your next strawman that you want to discuss?
Okay, so would you please be able to present us once where anybody has used this in real life situations, please?
Yeah, every time they fired the gun.
That's just your word. Present it to us, please. Where anybody has ever used these tables in real life, please. Go ahead.
I did.
Prove it. Because I believe you were a potato peeler in the Navy, so.
I don't care what you believe. I was a nuclear engineer, and I worked on both surface ships and submarines.
Nuclear engineers don't actually
even potato. Here's the thing: even potato peelers in the Navy, which there isn't, there is chefs in the Navy. Even the chefs are trained on firing the guns because you don't just do one job. You make sure you can do multiple things. So that's irrelevant to the conversation. But the fact they are in the tables every single time they are fired, they are taken into account. You just keep ignoring the questions I asked you and ask me questions. So, do you think you could answer my questions instead? Or
can you take us through?
So I answered your question. So now my question again, which I'm going to ask to you, which you seem to ignore. Could you show me a citation that says that Coriolis effect is wind? Because that was your direct claim. And I'm now going to hold your feet to the fire for your direct claim that the difference between the Coriolis effect and the Coriolis force is that the Coriolis effect is due to the wind. Please present evidence for that claim.
Am I on?
Oh, should be.
Okay. Craig, I'm going to ask you again. I'm getting the citation for you, but while I'm doing that, would you please tell everybody how you did this from the step when you calculated Coriolis into taking a fire, but from step 1 to doing it, please. And by the way, you got 10 seconds to do it because that's how long it's going to take before you get shot down. Thank you.
Yeah, you figure out which way you're pointing, how far your projectile is going to go, and then based on that, you just apply the Coriolis corrections. Make sure you fire in the right direction. It's as simple as that.
And you did all that in 10
So
seconds?
anyway, back to my question. Stop asking another question. Before you ask any more question,
Did you do all that
just
in 10
focus
seconds?
on my question. I am not answering any more questions until you answer my question and provide me with a citation that the difference between the Coriolis effect and the Coriolis force is that the Coriolis effect is due to the wind. That's your claim. For now, that is what we are going to focus on.
So again, you failed to actually show us how you did what you claimed you did.
Darren?
It goes both you guys the same way. He wants you to answer his question.
I answered his question directly. So
what?
So I'm going to share screen.
You ignored it. I answered your question directly.
I didn't hear it either. Can you answer it again then?
Yeah, you figure out which direction you're facing, how far you're going to be firing the projectile, what the mass of your projectile is, which you will know if you're in that job. And then based on that, you would say, okay.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you...
That was my bad. Go ahead.
What is going on?
Well,
how's the sound effect accidentally played? Good. It wasn't supposed
anyway,
to.
I've got on screen for you, Craig. Instead of circulating in a straight pattern, the air deflects towards the right in the northern hemisphere and towards the left in the southern hemisphere, resulting in curved paths. This deflection is called the Coriolis effect. Wind. Okay, so that is from NOAA.
Again, that doesn't say.
Service. So I'm going to ask you again. You told me for a citation, I gave you one. So now I'm going to ask you to please go ahead and explain step for step how you as a gunner did what you claim to do. Not just say, this is what I'm going to do. What you do. You walk up to do what? Pick up what manual? Do how calculations? You've got 10 seconds before the enemy has shot you to your smithereens. Please do this in real world time. You got 10 seconds and go.
Yeah, no, you didn't answer my question. You didn't provide a citation that I asked for. So
I just had it on screen. Jaron, you saw that, correct?
Can you put it back up? Can you put it back up for me, please?
I thought you were reading. I didn't know you had it on screen.
Yeah, I'd like you to pull it back up and show me where it says the difference between the Coriolis effect and the Coriolis force is that it's wind. What you put up shows that the
deflection is called the Coriolis effect.
It's called the Coriolis effect because the deflection is called the Coriolis effect. The deflection is called the Coriolis effect. The deflection of anything. The deflection of the wind, the deflection of the ballistic. It doesn't say that just the deflection of the wind, and it doesn't say that the Coriolis effect is due to the wind. That's not what that citation said. So, before we try and think again, I'm going to ask for the citation that says the Coriolis effect is due to the wind. Please provide me for that citation. You didn't provide a citation for that. It did not say that.
See how he's running, guys. I'm asking.
I'm not running. I'm asking for you to provide the citation that you've made a positive claim for.
I know this is hard for you, so I'm going to ask you one more time. You got 10 seconds.
Darren, I'm sorry.
Can you bring the
question?
Put the
claim that you can do this in real time.
Okay, he's
and if you fail to do so, you have been showing to everybody you are a liar.
Eric,
I got you. He's going to put up. He's going to put up the.
What am I supposed to do?
He's going to put up the source.
If you will not answer my question,
he's going to put up the source. You're going to answer the question. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So while I'm getting the source for you again, Craig,
you answer the question while he gets the source.
I'm going to show everybody in 10 seconds, step for step, how you would account for Coriolis before the enemy shoots you down. Because I'm guaranteeing you that that enemy is not going to account for Coriolis. He's going to aim at you and shoot you dead. So you got 10 seconds to do your calculations, get your gun ready, load it up, make sure everything's perfect, take wind into account, take drop into account, and shoot the guy before he shoots you. 10 seconds and go.
Sorry, I'm not your dancing monkey. Once you put up the Coriolis, once we finish with my thing, then I'll answer yours.
Are you? I mean, you want to do? Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I just do one thing at a time, right? I've asked the question. I want to get my question done.
He just said.
And
he
then
said.
we get on to his question. Instead of doing both at the same time, let's focus on the thing he's running away from, right? I will, let me be clear, I will answer his question. after we have had him answer my question and discussed it fully.
Okay, he's going to grab the source for you.
Yeah, I'm going to quickly get it. But did you notice, guy, he died because the guy shot him down because instead of doing what he said he claimed to be able to do in the Navy, he moaned.
Craig, oh, sorry, that's what he asked. Okay. You're going to answer his question next. After he gets the source. I'll have it on pause for a second.
And in his source, I want him to point out to me where it says that the difference between the Coriolis effect and the Coriolis force is due to the wind. Because that's what he claimed, and that wasn't what he showed.
So you're going to still do it? Trying to get the right words. So you're going to do it for us quickly, Craig?
He's waiting for you. He's playing like a...
You've done your thing, yeah.
I'm looking for the citation. You can so long do the 10-second demonstration that you claim to do in the Navy.
How about just if you just walk us through it? You don't need to do 10 seconds. Just talk it through it. Since you did it.
Latitude 45 degrees, projectile velocity 800 meters per second, time of flight 30 seconds. The Coriolis acceleration will be about 0.082 meters per second. You calculate the eastward deflection, assuming firing north-south, is about 36.86 meters. So the gunner would need to adjust the aim to account for an approximate 36.86 meter deflection due to the Coriolis effect, which will be included in the charts that they are looking at as they are sitting in the gunner seat. Done.
And you didn't look in the gunner seat, you didn't load the gun, you didn't check the
That's all done already. That's all done already. I'm in the gunner seat.
And you did. Well done. Okay,
Darren, I would like to confirm that I answered his question.
Yeah, if that's what Anthony, that's what really what goes on in the submarine for each shot, all that seemed like a lot.
Yeah, for 10 seconds. That's why I said it's never used in real life.
All you would need to do is the calculation table. That's it.
No one's ever.
But wouldn't the calculation table be different every
real life war situations, mate? Never.
I'm asking this because we're both paused real quick. But Craig, what if it's different direction, different speed, different distance, different wind?
Taken into account. You know which direction you're facing.
Taken into account via
firing,
like in computerized form or in pen and paper.
Most of it's going to be like computerized and calculated. But if you needed to do the adjustments, there is a table which literally tells you, all right, I'm at this latitude, I'm firing this thing, I need to make sure I adjust X amount. It's as simple as that.
And that's what that table you have?
There. They've had the calculations for you all done in advance.
The table that you showed us earlier.
The table adjusts based on what you're doing.
The table that you showed us earlier has all those calculations.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, he sufficiently answered that one. Or, well, depending on...
Right, so FLATZOID needs to show the citation that the difference between the Coriolis effect and the Coriolis force is due to the wind, and that it's just the wind that he claimed.
Yeah, I got it on screen.
Let me put it up.
Doesn't say
don't put it down.
About the Coriolis force.
The point here, applied ballistics, okay? Does it say that the wind deflects the bullets?
Yep, wind and Coriolis both exist. Jaren, I would like to...
Wait. Wind...
Oh, I'm reading what we're saying here.
Sorry. Wind deflects bullets, and if it gets further and further away, it deflects it even more. Is this wind measurable and calculatable and observable?
Yes.
What do you say is observable for Coriolis?
I'm still waiting for the citation.
I got it on screen, but what do you think is observable for Coriolis?
No, the citation that says that the Coriolis effect, the difference between the Coriolis effect and the force is due to the wind, and it's just the wind. Could you please bring up that citation?
Wind can have a significant effect on trajectory of a bullet, particularly in a long range, and this can affect the ability of the shooter to hit the intended aim point or target. So, does the wind push the bullet or ballistics off of its target, Craig?
I'm sorry, I'm still waiting for the citation for your claim.
I brought two up. So,
Darren, did that say anything about the
again,
claim that he made?
It depends on what...
running, guys.
Well, it just depends on what you're talking about. He doesn't
mention Coriolis.
He's saying that he thinks that it's just the wind they're calculating. You're asking for a...
But he made the claim, the positive claim,
right?
The difference between the Coriolis effect and the Coriolis force is due to the wind, and that I didn't understand physics because I disagreed with him. So I want him to back up that claim. That's all. him
So,
to
okay,
back
we're
up
gonna
that claim. But the difference between the two is the wind.
Okay, so we're going to say this again. Is your beloved wind caused due to Earth rotation?
Sorry, I just want the citation when you're ready.
He obviously
Is
doesn't have
wind-
one.
Yeah. Is your wind caused by
He
Earth
doesn't have a
rotation?
citation for his claim.
Is your wind caused by Earth rotation, Greg?
Can you admit you don't have a citation for your claim?
I just brought up 2. Is your wind
None of that,
caused...
that didn't match your claim.
Why aren't you answering? Is your wind caused by Earth
Because
rotation?
we haven't done my
It's a
question yet.
yes
You're
He
or
not-
no
said he
question,
doesn't have, he
Greg,
doesn't
and this
have
is
one.
why
It's a
we don't want to
belief. Put
debate
it that
you
way.
guys. You just want...
Yeah, we're
Well,
just,
I just want him to say that. I want him to tell me that he doesn't have a citation.
There
That's
is no such thing as Coriolis effect of Earth. It is simply wind deflection, as I just brought up 2 citations to say they account for wind deflection and not Coriolis. So
but
I'm
could
asking
bring
you
up
a
a citation to
question,
say that it's
instead
not
of
due to
hand wave
Coriolis?
dismissing and
Okay.
talking over me,
Okay.
is, because you're wasting your last 3 minutes you got, so use it wisely now,
Yes,
is
I just want your citation. I'm not
your
moving on to I get a citation.
Coriolis Earth rotation causing wind?
Not moving on until I get a citation.
he
causing
doesn't have
wind.
one. He's calling it
I want
wind.
him. If he says that he doesn't have a citation, I'll move on.
He thinks those are
I show
citations.
2. I show 2 making my point. If you just hand wave
If you're not happy with it, say I don't accept that and move
I'm
on.
going to ask a specific question. I want to see a citation that specifically
At this point, aren't you smart enough? Aren't you smart enough to realize he doesn't have it? What is the point of this? Like, aren't you smart enough? Can't you have an adult conversation?
It's his claim. That's
So then-
what I'm asking him to.
Okay, but he doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. So rather than play games, just say,
He
all right,
won't admit
obviously
it.
you don't
He
have
won't
it.
admit he doesn't have it.
Just say,
He won't
obviously
admit
you
it.
don't have it, and move on. I don't understand why we have to play games. Just say, obviously you don't
Yeah,
have a
I want him
citation.
to
That's
admit
it.
he doesn't have it. That's all.
He gave you 2. If you don't accept his 2, say, I don't accept those, and move on.
Neither of those said the thing that he said.
Tell him that.
They didn't
Wind
say his
deflects
claim.
the bullets.
Tell the audience that and move
wind
on.
deflects the bullets.
Right. So I just want
My
to
point
reiterate.
there.
FLATZOID'S specific claim was that the difference between the Coriolis effect and the Coriolis force was that the Coriolis effect is due to the wind. And that is it. I want to see a citation that specifically says those words, not just things deflect due to the wind, because we know that. But more than one force can happen at the same time. Wind deflection and Coriolis deflection are both calculated when firing things. I want you to back up your claim or admit you don't have a citation for your claim.
Great, you just did exactly what I thought you were going to do. Bring up your naval gunnery and show us where wind is taken into account, please. Because you said they take wind and Coriolis deflection into account. Go ahead.
So I'm still waiting for your citation.
Oh, boy.
You just said they take wind and
Yeah.
Coriolis into account. Go ahead,
Absolutely.
show us where wind is taken into account with Coriolis, please.
With the table that I showed has the corrections for
No,
wind
no,
as
no,
well.
no, no. That is because of wind. So
Well, it
go
has
ahead.
corrections for both
Show us.
wind
No, no, no,
and
no.
Coriolis.
Show us.
Both.
You made a
Both of
claim
them.
that they. Ooh.
They're both in the
Now
guide.
you're running from your own
Yeah, they're
citation.
both
huh?
in those charts.
You made a
Show it
claim.
up. Bring it up. That's
They
it's what
take
he's asking
wind.
for.
Okay.
Yeah.
No worries. When I see his citation, I'll get mine up.
So
It's
that's
fine.
There's
no
a-
then,
I
Greg.
already showed it.
He doesn't
That's
have
okay.
one that
No.
you're accepting. So he's now asked you for one, which
I mean,
you're
I can
claiming
show
you
the
have.
Same tables
Okay,
again.
well, that's what you claim
It's
you have,
fine.
so show it.
That's what he wants me to do.
That's what he asked for.
So he wants to see the same thing that I've already shown.
He doesn't think it shows just wind or wind by itself or
I think
separate.
It shows just wind.
You said they
My
take both.
claim
He
is
said.
my claim is they don't take Coriolis into account. They call Coriolis because of wind. You claiming they take wind and Coriolis into account. So you have to show they separate the two, which they don't. Good luck.
Right, I'll just go through the tables a second and find the wind calculations as well. In fact, let's just go back to the beginning because it talks about it there. Temperature of Earth, parallax collections, typical values, effect of Earth's rotation, curvature of Earth.
Notice, guys, while he's looking for this, he's literally done what I said he's going to do. Contradict himself the whole time, not understand the difference between Coriolis effect, Coriolis force, and he doesn't know that wind is the calculation that they call Coriolis force. And also note he still hasn't done what he said
I want you to back up. That is a claim I want you to back up. It's a claim.
I showed 2 citations which you don't accept.
No, you didn't. You didn't. You just said that wind is a thing.
Hand wave dismissal. Hand wave dismissal.
Right, okay, so let me just show my screen here, and I'll show you. This is the same table that had the corrections for the calculations for the rotation of the Earth. So let me just share my screen quickly and prove Flatzoid wrong again, because you know that's always fun. Go. So this is the same table that had the calculations for the rotation of the Earth and curvature of the Earth. And you see this table here, deviation for lateral wind component of 10 knots. So yeah, these tables take into account the curvature of the Earth, the rotation of the Earth, wind, everything you need to know. Literally here, deviation for lateral wind component, drift due to, actually this is actually an increase in angle due to wind deflection. So yeah, there we go, deviation for lateral wind component again, giving a different calculation for a different amount of wind. So yeah, you're wrong. These tables have both calculations for Coriolis and wind, and they separate them. So I've done my part. Whilst I was doing that, you made a very specific claim that the tables say that it's Coriolis, but it's actually wind. So now I would like you to provide a citation for that, please. I've done my part.
Go flat. Oops. There you go.
Sure. Notice, guys, that he just did exactly as I said, due to lateral wind, so not Earth rotation. This is exactly my point. His own citation made my point that the deflection of Coriolis is lateral wind. Oh, you didn't even know what you just read on screen. And while he's busy talking like that, I'm going to share screen again. And I want to see quickly that he can... This is funny. Thank you very much, Craig, for literally putting on screen that you said doesn't make my point while literally reading out my point. Yeah, just quickly listen to this.
Coriolis was never applied during my whole military career at all. Are you really sitting down with this mathematical formula and figuring out what you got to do in the heat of battle? The answer is no.
Thank you very much, and that's all I need to say further.
Or what it is, the calculations are actually included. Right, so I would just like to point out what Flatzoid did. I showed him a different table to the Coriolis, which he asked me to show that they're separated. So I did. There is a table for Coriolis corrections. That is one correction you do. And there is another table for wind calculations. That is a separate calculation you do. You do both of them. That's why they are both in the chart and they are both separate. Those instruction manuals have both corrections for wind and Coriolis. They wouldn't have both if wind was Coriolis. I showed you that they separate them and you went, see, he showed its wind is Coriolis. No, they have calculations for both. So please, your citation now that they pretend it's Coriolis, but it's wind. Over to you.
I don't know if he thinks we're all just gullible and fall for his idiocy like his followers do, but he literally showed that the deflection was wind. He didn't show it was Coriolis and wind because he was frantically going through it all and seeing, oh, lateral wind, lateral wind. By the way, I've read through that thing many times. It's wind. Also note that many people that have been in the military, in the Navy and so forth, all account they do not account for Coriolis. You, on the other hand, saying you are and just proved you didn't because you can't show us how you can do it in 10 seconds makes my point, Craig. So because you want to carry on just ignoring that you read it's wind deflection and not actual Coriolis, notice, guys, he has not done anything this whole debate but prove my point.
He's out of time. You got the whole time left.
Oh, he's out of time. Okay, cool. So what I will do is I will say, I can share my screen then some more. This is going to be fun. Let's do some more education for Mr. Not understanding Coriolis, because he thinks it's an actual deflection. So I'm going to share screen. What is Coriolis? Yeah, it's showing. This is from a video I did, so it is edited and stuff. So it does work. Okay.
I think I found a way to show an effect that will have you doubting your very own eyes. Now, they don't know it yet, but our budding ball players sitting on our specially rigged merry-go-round are about to demonstrate a rather astonishing optical illusion.
Pay attention, Craig. Optical illusion.
One same comes to you, Spencer, and you think it goes straight ahead, but you think you'll be the one catching it. Now remember, the ball will be thrown straight across the spinning merry-go-round. Where will it end up? Will it be caught by the thrower? Will it be caught by the person opposite? Will it be caught by the person to the thrower's left? Or by the person to the thrower's
Can you give us any extra
Let's
volume?
pause
I'm
it
up as loud as I can. People are having a hard time
Oh,
hearing.
I'm as loud as I can go as well.
Okay.
But making the point, could you at least hear it a bit though?
We hear it a bit. If you want to talk through it, it'd probably be better.
Okay, cool. But anyway, he's showing the deviation is only an optical illusion. It's an effect, guys. It's not actual. Okay? So when they're on the spinning merry-go-round, that would represent Earth as the non-inertial reference frame. That ball that they're throwing would be in the inertial reference frame. And it will only appear to take a deviation to those people on the Earth. We don't see this apparent deflection, which Craig also fought for when he said, conservation of momentum. We don't see it because it's relative to the ground. So no Coriolis then, Craig. Optical illusion, not actual, Craig. So no Coriolis force, Craig. It's an apparent deviation. Okay? So who do you think's going to catch it? They're going to throw it. Oh, the person next to her. Notice she threw it straight, but because what's going on? Oh no. It only appeared to deviate. Let's go to where he's showing it on the actual appearing to optical illusion.
Off their intended course. So what's
Deflected off their intended course.
Throw a ball in a straight line. Can I clear that up straight away?
Yep, throwing a ball in a straight line.
The ball straight. Still going straight, but the table is moving.
The table is moving.
The table is moving below.
I hope Craig is paying attention. No, he's not. He's talking to his chat because he doesn't understand. Now look at this, Craig. The real trajectory is a straight line where you shot it. The apparent trajectory is the yellow line where it appears to give that deviation. So, in other words, if you shoot your ballistics at a ship, concentrate, Craig. He's not even concentrating. See, this is why we don't bother with these people anymore. When you shoot a ballistics for everyone else listening, it goes in where you're pointing it. It doesn't move left or right due to the Earth rotating underneath it. It goes to where it was. You moving underneath it is you moving away from the target. The only conservation that that thing has is if you're in a moving target and it holds a bit of that momentum because of the movement of the vehicle. That's it. See? The actual path, straight. The apparent path looked curved. That's all I needed to show for this. And yeah, I think that's about it. Then we can go to closing statements, I guess.
Sounds good to me. All right, FT, you got, or you go first, I guess. What do you want, a minute?
Yeah, a minute's actually more than enough.
Okay. Let's do it.
Cool. Okay, so Craig, we have shown everybody straight here, you don't understand the difference between Coriolis effect, Coriolis force, you don't understand reference frames, you think we are omnipresent in all reference frames, you think you take an imaginary optical illusion into account as an actual account, you don't understand that the only deflection they take is due to wind, you proved it with your own citation, you hand-wave dismissed all the ones I brought up, and you are sniggering like a little child because you know you have nothing but sniggering. So again, this is the reason why we don't really bother with these clowns anymore, because they have nothing other than incredulity and Dunning-Kruger and trying to save face. So yeah, guys, the Earth's stationary, non-rotating, flat plane, enclosed, and notice he also didn't show us how gas can stick to objects, and also show how it can go against the first law of thermodynamics, because their claim is gas imparts extra momentum with tangential velocity. Thank you.
Thanks, FLATZOID. We got FTFE. Go ahead. You got a minute to close us out? Oh, well, we got super chats after that if you want to stay. Oh, you're muted. Okay, go.
Display absolutely insane. So what FLATZOID demonstrated was that he literally has no idea what he's talking about and can only strawman the globe model. The charts that I showed separate charts for Coriolis and wind. There's two different charts. I showed them both. You take them both into account. He claimed that the Coriolis effect is due to wind and failed to show a citation that that is the difference between the Coriolis effect and Coriolis force. He just showed a citation that said the deflection of this thing is called the Coriolis effect. Yeah, anything deflecting on the surface of the Earth due to the rotation of the Earth is called the Coriolis effect. So well done. But you didn't give a citation for the thing that you claimed. I directly did. FLATZOID is scientifically and physically illiterate. I have a degree in physics. I understand Coriolis. I've fired these things, taking Coriolis into account. They are on the tables for a reason. Snipers doing over a kilometer take Coriolis into account. It is a real thing. To ignore it is just willful ignorance.
Time.
And I don't mean that he thinks I'm stupid.
Time. That's a funny way to end it. All right, let me look at the super chats. Thank you guys for the support. Despite the I don't know. The show is great. Very, very adult-like. Let's go to live chat.
Go on my channel. Go and vote on FLATZOID's poll.
What happened? Is there a poll going on?
Yeah.
All right. ClipRub says $20. Craig is a blank, 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 blank. I don't know what those are.
Blank. Really fucking awesome guy.
No, certainly not that.
Good
Yeah,
set.
It's got to do with what's in between your two ears.
Gorgeous, intelligent, great teeth. I don't know.
Okay, that's enough.
I don't know. The blank. There's many things you could have there, but thanks. I appreciate it.
It's Mad Libs.
I mean,
everybody in the audience, go ahead and fill in yours on the chat. Just fill because I don't know what that's supposed to be. So do it like a Mad Libs.
But he does think you account for Coriolis with a kilometer, so obviously it's blank.
Snipers say you do, yeah.
No, they don't.
Upside down guy.
I've shot a kilometer before. I've never taken Coriolis into account, man.
You've never touched them.
Craig, I'm pretty impressed with your resume, man. I've heard you do quite a few things. Now, at this point,
I was in the military for a reason. What do you mean, quite a few things?
I just can think of quite a few things that you've said that you've done throughout debates that just tell me you're a busy guy. All over the place. You were. Remember that time you measured distances in the ocean?
Like the hopes of me doing my physics degree and stuff like that, and my job in the military.
And you've also done a Foucault's pendulum.
Yeah, that was my physics degree. Yeah. Every single physics undergrad in the world does that.
And you've done the Cavendish.
Yeah, again, that's it is a physics undergrad thing. It's just something you do.
Very cool. Yeah, and then you measured distances in the Southern Ocean.
Yeah, well, I mean, I calculated how far we would travel based on known distances. Yeah.
And nuclear fuel.
Yeah, well, yeah. I was calculating for the diesel emergency engines, not for how far the nuclear fuel will get us. Nuclear fuel doesn't really run out.
Well, you shut down the regular fuel, and then you had to use the nuclear fuel.
Yeah. You obviously have to test.
See, I listen. I remember the things you did. All right, in the Northern Hemisphere, from Upside Down Guy. Thank you very much, Upside Down. He says, in the Northern Hemisphere, we fire a gun equally in all four cardinal directions. Does Coriolis affect the four projectiles differently? If so, how would each be affected?
Is that to me or to FLATZOID?
I'm pretty sure it's to you.
You're claiming it.
Right. So, where are you firing it? Where was did it state where you
in
were
the Northern
firing
Hemisphere,
from?
we fire a gun all four directions equally.
Yeah. Whichever way you fire it in the Northern Hemisphere, it will deflect towards the right. The mechanism behind why it specifically does that is slightly different depending if you're firing north, south to east, west. But that's why cyclones will always kind of rotate that way, is because if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, the Coriolis deflection will always make you deflect to the right.
storms go to the other side, other direction, right? But they cause
on the southern hemisphere, yeah. And if they cross the
no, I mean in
equator,
the north they go counterclockwise, right? Which would be deviating to the left.
Do they?
I don't know. I think that they still blame it on that, but yes, the deviation's to the right, but the
storms rotate clockwise in the. I'd have to double check.
Double check that. I think it's counterclockwise.
Deflection of everything is the same, whether you're in the north or south. So if you're in the north, things deflect to the right. If you're in the south, things deflect to the left. The mechanism behind the north-south deflection is slightly different to the east-south deflection. But
that's all in the tables. It's in the tables, though. So can you answer that question? So, okay, so you're saying they'll all be different: north, south, east, west, east, west.
But yeah, depending on where you are in the Earth. But if you're in the northern hemisphere, you fire a gun north, south, east, west. It's going to deflect to the right.
Why, if you fire east or west?
Well, okay, so the east or west is slightly different. So if you imagine firing to the east, right? As you fire, the Earth is moving underneath, technically the bullet is moving against, the opposite direction of the Earth's rotation, which means that as the bullet moves, the Earth is curving towards it, which would make it dip towards the ground. But because the ground's in the way, that deflection will make it go right. But if you're shooting the other way, because as the Earth is curved, moving against the bullet would deflect to the sky. But because of gravity, it can't go that way. And the easiest way, the path of least resistance for it to go, because of the force of gravity pushing it down, is also to deflect to the right. I can there's a good sheet that I used to use in my physics exams that explains it way better than that, but that's the basis.
Okay. Tony Coriolis, $10 says, Craig, if you do not calculate for Coriolis, you will miss your shots at what distance?
Snipers in general would take Coriolis into account for anything over a kilometer. Anything less than that, the deflection is very small, and is really it's not needed to be calculated. In ballistics, you don't really fire anything like less than a kilometer. So any like main gun ballistics, you will always take Coriolis calculations into effect.
Okay. What about with like a cannon shot, half a kilometer?
Well, if a cannon shot half a kilometer, yeah, there would still be a calculable drift, right? But it would be so small that the forces of like the pushing from the wind and air resistance and things like that would be way stronger than like the forces. But there would still be a very tiny calculable drift. Like when Neil deGrasse Tyson said about the whole that shot was likely aided by a slight deflection. It was probably a little bit hyperbole because the other forces weren't really taken into account in his calculations, but there is a calculable force and deflection that can be applied at any distance, but it just depends on what you're doing as to whether you need to take that into account.
Okay. Thank you. We've got Upside Down Guy back. He says, are long-range projectiles affected by the Magnus effect? Is it more likely drift of projectiles is due to the rifle bore direction inside the weapon causing sideways drift, or is it the Coriolis effect?
Bore and that is usually taken into account, plus different weapons are boring in different ways. The Magnus effect is more to do with if a spherical object is spinning and the air will make it move either up or down from the drift depending on which way it's spinning, depending the way it's moving, and that's not really what a projectile does. If anything, a projectile will spin sideways and maintain its profile. It will spin along its axis. So the Magnus effect is not something that you would need to take into account for general projectile firing. That's more something if you span a ball off the dam, as you spin the ball, the fact that it's taking the air with it will make it deflect towards the sky.
Okay. Craig, did they have Don't Ask, Don't Tell in your Navy too, or were you allowed to be open about sexuality?
They didn't care. I mean, I had several friends in the Navy that were openly gay or openly lesbians. It's their business. I don't.
Oh yeah.
Nothing to do with me. But the don't ask, don't tell thing that disappeared bloody ages ago. It's
now it's ask and tell. What do you want?
That stuff.
Ask and tell on Fridays. Yeah. FTFE is still waiting for the citation. Pull it up from Danny Turner. Thank you, Danny. Flatzoid, that's to you.
I don't need to. He gave it up himself.
Okay. Jeff Konkai says, Craig, why are you so brain damaged?
Defenestrated many times, I guess.
November for 999 says, I know the existence of God was not the debate topic, but the fact that we don't have to see Craig's smug face on Debatism again is pretty good evidence for it.
Wow.
Damn it, I should have read that one at a time. I know my prayers have been answered.
It's funny. Good job. I mean, I like all these because I'm going to take all these insults and put them into a bunch of shorts.
Nice.
I love it. Yeah.
I got a question for you, Craig. When are we getting that refracted hand demonstration?
Well, your episode of First Idiots is I took a couple of years off making videos because of my health issues and just focused on live streams and stuff. But I've now got a bunch of videos in production, and your refracted hand thing is in your episode of First Idiot.
Nice.
I will likely be launching the series towards the end of June, and yours is the 7th episode in the series. So your episode is likely to come out, let's say, August, mid-September.
It's probably nowhere near.
2050, okay.
Probably nowhere near. All right, Craig, how many boosters did you get? You don't have to answer that. It's a medical question.
I don't care. I had my main vaccine, and then I've had one booster, and I've not had any more since then.
All right. Clit Rubs for $20 says Craig is blank 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 blank. Wake up, Craig. That's all it says. I don't know.
How many blanks was that?
It looks like 5 this time. 4-letter word, 5-letter word, 6-letter word, 3-letter word.
Really good dream. Wake up, Craig. Yeah, okay, that works. Craig was having a really good dream. Cool.
We don't want to hear about it. Canuck, Craig, would you stand in front of a sniper or any projectile if they do not account for the Coriolis effect? It's a pretty good question. 2 miles away, would you, if they said we're not going to take Coriolis into effect, would you then stand in front of that bullet, knowing that it wouldn't hit you?
If they were purposely ignoring Coriolis over 2 miles, yeah.
Oh man, we gotta get this going.
No, definitely not first time.
All right.
Let's look at, say, the world record longest distance, where they didn't take Coriolis into account. They didn't hit it first time. It was like 30, 40 times of shooting,
69.
adjusting. How many was it? 60 times. Yeah. So it was literally brute force.
Yes.
Because they didn't take any of that into account.
They took everything into account. They took everything into account, but not Coriolis, because they said wind would destroy it. Wind would be way more.
And then they hit 59 times.
Yeah, but that's what right. That's what you expect.
They might hit.
But that's what you'd expect.
The record for the furthest sniper shot kill is something like 3 or 4 kilometers.
4 miles, yeah, 4 miles.
4 miles, yeah.
But they hit it on the 60-something shot.
They shot the guy first shot. It wasn't like he said, "Stand still so I can try and shoot you." It was the first shot.
Oh, well, yeah, I don't know about that
would
one.
have taken Coriolis into account.
Do you know if he did? Flatzoid, I was asking Flatzoid if he knows if they did. He's talking about a different shot. He's talking about one where they hit him on the first shot.
No.
I mean, he's saying they didn't, but he's got no evidence of that. They most certainly would have.
I do. No one.
Yeah, but you guys always say that, and then until we have evidence that they didn't, and then you just say, "Well, they're joking. They really did."
So. I mean, I've got many snipers on video saying that they take Coriolis into account and even teaching it.
Okay, but do you understand that the deception doesn't work if they tell everybody we don't take it into account? Then the deception's gone. So they have to tell people and teach them, "Hey, we do take it into account. It's in the data. It's in the tables. It's in the calculations."
You hit the target. So we know it.
Do they not nowadays Do they nowadays have an electronic device that does?
Yeah, which all does those calculations for you.
Okay, so then if you just said though, you said if they hit their target, then they know that it works. But what if they just put it in there and it's not actually calculating that?
Well, I'd have to go and find it, but I found one of those devices online, and it's actually open source code. And I got ChatGPT to analyze the code, and there is stuff for Coriolis and stuff in it, which is one of the videos that I'm making.
Is it okay if I quickly just play this 10-second again? Because I would like you to actually just maybe, if you can, tell us if they're lying, Craig. Would that be fine?
Yeah, go ahead.
Directly to what you're claiming now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Turn it up as loud as you can if you can.
Okay, I'm gonna put the microphone by that. Everybody.
Doesn't have evidence that the Earth rotates. Coriolis was never applied during my whole military career at all.
Are you really sitting down with this mathematical formula and figuring out what you got to do in the heat of battle? The answer is no. It just doesn't exist. There's no such thing as Coriolis. When you
Here we go. So would you give an example?
Yeah, he's lying. Simple as that. Now he's saying, do you sit down and do these calculations? No, you don't sit down and do these calculations because they're usually done for you with the equipment that you're using. So yeah, maybe he was using equipment that did it automatically. But if he's saying the Coriolis was never taken into account, then I am straight up calling him a liar.
Okay, what about World War II? They didn't have things like kestrels or anything. What did they use to?
World War II definitely took. I've got gunning tables from World War II ships, and they most definitely took Coriolis into account.
Sorry, you claiming sniper rifles do this? Snipers today usually use like kestrels and stuff. Okay, which takes wind and drop and all that into account. Now,
and Coriolis.
In World War II and World War I and things, they didn't have kestrels. They just looked at a target and they shot them. So can you tell us how they accounted for Coriolis? Did they have a notebook with them or something? Did they know automatically?
Yeah, absolutely. The snipers in World War II would have literally had notebooks with them to do calculations for their shooting at 100%. In World War II, snipers would have 100% when firing over a kilometer taken Coriolis into account.
You know what's funny about that?
In fact, it's included in the manuals for sniper training.
You know what's funny of that? You know what's funny of that? There's no notebook in existence that's got that information on that you just claimed.
Oh, well, I can get it. So if I do a video with that notebook showing someone's calculations for shooting, will you admit you're wrong?
Yeah, as long as it's authentic.
Because I got it.
Authentic.
Yeah, well, you'll claim it's not authentic. Of course you will. You will, no matter. You have to claim it's not authentic.
Have you got it with you?
I'm telling you, well, not with me now. It's in video editing software because I've actually researched and found
so you don't actually
you guys
know
claim don't exist. You will claim it's fake. Of course you will claim it's fake. But that's okay. You have to claim it.
Good luck.
Okay, next one we've got Sorry. We've got Craig. Oh, sorry, that one we got. Ali B, thank you very much for the 200.
Hey, Ali, long time no speak. 200
and DK Donkey Kong coins. Ask Craig what's the names of the nuclear submarines in the British Navy.
At the moment, well, I was on T-class, so I was on HMS Trident. The current ones, I'm not even sure of the current names of the new ones. But when I was in the Navy, you had Trident, you had Turbulent, you had Vanguard, you had the S-class. There's a bunch. So I'm not sure what the name of the new class is, but yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Ali B. We've got Retro Bill says, FTFE, in your distinguished career as a Royal Potato Peeler, did you personally prepare the ammo for the 25mm naval spud guns?
I never personally prepared the ammo for the big guns. No, that's not something that I ever did. I was trained on, how to reload them and everything, but whilst on a ship, I was never involved in actually doing that.
I think Retro
But
Bill
didn't
is
you just
pretty.
say in the debate you did?
I fired them. I never loaded them. They were already loaded when I got there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty rude, though. I wouldn't treat a war veteran like that. Retro Bill. Be careful. Thanks for your service. Oh, wait, you didn't serve our country. I forgot. I guess you're not supposed to thank for the service. Are you supposed to thank you for your service against us? No, I don't know how that works. I can't thank you. Now I think about it. All right, let me see if there's any Rokfin, and we will be heading now. We can start by saying your goodbyes forever. Craig, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Darren. I really do appreciate it. I very much enjoy the format. FLATZOID, thanks for the conversation. I do appreciate you taking the time to talk to me and allowing me to let you say a bunch of stupid stuff so I can make videos from it. It's very, very kind of you.
Likewise.
He's honest.
Yeah, likewise.
All right. And,
it was fun, guys. It was fun.
FLATZOID, your stuff, tell people where they can find you. I don't see any other super chats, so we're good there. Go ahead.
Awesome. Yeah, you guys can find me on FLATZOID'S Perspective. I am on YouTube. I am on Twitter X. You can find me on Twitter X also under Keith Reynolds, or you can find me on Instagram and obviously YouTube's lands. Yeah. Thanks, Jaren, for this. This was fun.
Canuck, $5 from Canada, says, "Can you pick your nose one last time for us on camera?" Come on, FTFE. Thank you.
You know what, right? Yeah, okay. I got caught picking my nose, but I have literally thousands and thousands of hours of me on camera, and that's the only fucking time I've done it.
Really? On my show?
Their nose, right? And here's the thing, right? I thought I was off camera and I needed to itch my nose. I had a bad itch in my nose and I thought I was off camera, but I forgot that because Jaren.
You could have just said you could have just said I was off camera and I needed to pick my nose. You didn't need to go with the live. I needed to scratch my nose.
Itch inside. Yeah, it did need a bit of digging around, but I thought I was off camera. All right, but I forgot that I send you the split cam. Hey, I got caught picking my nose. It happens.
That's the reason you're being kicked off the show. So something I cannot allow. Cannot allow that to happen.
Ew, brother, what's that?
Craig, is it true? Is it true?
I did think that was funny. Me and my wife watched that and had a good laugh, to be fair.
I just had to.
Craig, is it true that knowingly lying and being deceitful may lead to a loss of limbs? Asking for everyone with a little common sense. Oh, man.
Yes, that's the exact reason why I may be losing my left leg is because I lie. Yeah, nothing to do with the 3 pins holding.
Actually,
it's
being
together.
really, really honest, because think about it. Pinocchio's nose grew. You're gonna actually, it's gonna go backwards. So it really is actually being truthful. That's what happens when you're really too truthful, overly truthful. You start losing limbs. No, Craig, we want you to actually get out and ground. Can you do that?
Dude, Jaren, actually, you know what? I genuinely do that every morning. Since you kind of suggested it to me, I went into the back garden and I do it every morning. Stand out there with my coffee and my walking sticks, just taking in the sun, standing in the grass.
All right.
And it makes me feel happy.
See, there you go. Next thing you know, you'll be a flat earther. How about that? Craig S, £5. In FLATZOID'S evidence, he said the gunners were discussing wind, but they say Earth rotation is used to determine the exact point of fall.
I missed that if they said that in this citation. That's always good. Toon's Law of Earth's #1. Flat Earther citations, always disagree with them, no exceptions.
Yeah, like what you brought up, making my point to the T. Well done.
2 different tables showing both wind and Earth rotation.
The wind is the Earth rotation. That's the issue.
Not according to the 2 different tables with different calculations.
Notice he still hasn't shown us Coriolis deviation. He's making claims without substantiating them.
That field goal, Neil deGrasse showed us. Yeah. Joe Mama, 5 memberships. Thank you very much. Very kindly. And you know that the Falklands thing, the whole thing Neil deGrasse talks about is bullshit too, right? I'm glad you didn't bring that up.
But it's one of those things where we don't really know where it came from.
But there's no evidence.
It sounds like
it
could be right,
sure.
But it's a story that's been passed through the military. Yes. But nobody really knows the original source of it or what ship it's referencing or anything like that.
That guy's just full of misinformation. You know, he also says that the Earth, if it was smoothed down to a cue ball, would be smoother than a cue ball, which is literally retarded. I mean,
to be fair,
it's not true. It's not true. Look into it. He's getting it wrong. He's incorrectly.
No. Actually, I looked into that claim, and you're right. Okay. He wasn't like that. Now, here's the thing, right? I don't really like Neil deGrasse Tyson. Neil deGrasse Tyson.
That shit
is
flat. Yeah,
annoying habit of trying to dumb things down in a way that makes them very ambiguous, and I don't think that's a good way to explain things. Yeah, he's a very smart guy and a very clever guy, but I don't think he's a very good teacher.
I disagree.
We're on the way out of here now. We're going to listen to Neil deGrasse for 10 minutes because I played him the other day. He's doing this interview, and you got it's the biggest bunch of nonsense you've ever heard. He's going to explain to us how energy. This one's the one that why there's
you guys
energy.
Ever Terrence Howard talking about how 1 × 1 = 2?
I heard him on Joe Rogan the other day.
Oh my god, I didn't realize. But you have to agree with me, Jaren. That's fucking dumb, right?
If you're going by the rules of math, but I guess he has something in his head he's coming up with. I couldn't follow it. Well, he says multiplication would always be more than the original, so 1 × 1 has to be more than 1. I mean, that's not the way that multiplications I was taught.
That's not what multiplication is. It's like talking about it in groups.
Well, it's like 1 time. If you have 1 and you're timesing it by 1, I get what he's saying. Multiplication means more. So how do you have 1 × 1 = the same thing? But anyway, I get it. That's the rules of math. So yeah, I just went to look at it. All right, here, I got this for us. So this is going to be good. If we find it on here. Where do I need to find? Get to what am I? Yeah, it's just hilarious because I was dying in my garage the other day. I think this is seriously a comedy show that this guy is doing, and he's going around and talking to people and doing a nice little comedy special.
But you see, the thing is, Jaron, the reason they don't like Neil deGrasse Tyson is because he actually tells everybody what their religion actually is, and that sounds so stupid that they have to deny their priest.
Okay, so watch this. You want to talk about stupid? This guy is just he's out of his
Jaron,
mind.
before I go, quick question.
Yes, go. Sorry.
So I was speaking to Will a bit, and if we were able to get you and Austin both funded, would you go?
I would have to ask the audience. I would have to do a lot of thinking about that. I don't know. But Will not telling any more fibs in his videos would be good. You know, like I didn't tell my whole family. I didn't tell anybody in my family. Then my dad called me and said, "This is what? That's weird. How'd your dad know if you didn't tell anybody in your family?" Anyway, or like, you know, I got caught off guard. I got caught off guard by Sean when he's the one who brought it up. Hey, Sean, did you, you've been following that channel, you know? And he's like, oh, did you have anything to do with it? No, me, I don't have anything to do with it. I don't know who's in charge of it. He caught me off guard. Let's just stop with those. That's a good start. All right, here we go. Guys, we'll see you. What is today? Thursday? Tomorrow, Jeranism show, 3 p.m.
Thursday the 23rd, bloody hell. Right, anyway, thank you for having me on. I'll speak to you all soon. See you later, FLATZOID.
Peace.
Sisters.
All right, just gotta watch this for a couple
Wow.
minutes. Watch this guy. This guy's out of his mind.
You think well, I have a wonderful idea. Let's move it up a half a foot, Charles, and maybe we'll get the second on the celestial clock. Okay.
First 10 minutes is just him just making shit up.
I'm sure it was not on purpose. It just
Oops, get you off the screen here.
as so much of the universe is. So profound asymmetry. So you just went right into the stuff there.
Yeah, well.
Okay. Just a quick note.
Yeah.
That this title, Astrophysics for People in a Hurry, I've had people joke with me about it, say, oh, was Astrophysics for Dummies already taken, you know? And I just wanted to make it clear that first, yes, it was taken, but that's...
all comedy, all jokes.
There's nothing, I don't think there's anything, quote, dumbed down about the astrophysics in this book. It's all sort of curated, legitimate, full-up astrophysics.
Full up.
In an attempt to sort of grant the reader a degree of fluency in modern astrophysics, so like the next morning at the water cooler, you could just be talking about.
Yeah, and like there are things in here that I had never heard of.
Really? And you get around.
I get around.
Yeah, you get around.
So I'm going to be checking. But
so in the early universe, the temperature was very hot, and above certain thresholds of temperature, what happens is matter no longer stays as matter. It can freely move back and forth between itself and energy. And we have the recipe for this. It comes from E equals mc squared. We all know that equation. It's the formal conversion recipe for matter and energy. And the c squared is the speed of light squared. It's a huge number. A little bit of mass times that huge number gives you a lot of energy. We don't experience in our lives E equals mc squared because the energy in which we're immersed is not high enough.
I mean, get this, they say it's like the most important equation of all time. Yeah, we don't experience in our life E equals mc squared, but it is the most important experiment, the most important formula there ever was. We don't experience it, but it's amazing.
But you see, that's what the globe does. They claim things, and then just believe me, bro, have faith.
Coriolis, I swear it's there.
To enable matter to go back and forth between energy and itself. That's why it took so long to discover E equals mc squared and to come to terms and to come to understand it. But it is a profound equation that manifests from the beginning of time all the way to the future of the universe.
But we don't experience it, but it manifests from the beginning of time through the end of the universe. But we don't, I mean, you talk about just storybook. I mean, this is like, it's not, there's no truth there.
I want to understand how you can get something so hot that it's not matter anymore.
Oh, then it just goes between itself and energy. You don't know that?
Wow.
E equals mc squared. That's what it does.
But not in our life experience.
Oh.
All right. So, and also let me preface it by saying, in one of the opening pages of the book, it's, what do you call it? The rubric? No, what's the
beginning, I call it.
No. No,
I know what you mean.
No, the publishers have a word for the page that has a thing on it.
Yeah. Well, it says
that's the dedication.
For all those.
That's the dedication. Oh, you want to read it? Okay.
I mean, for all those who are too busy to read fat books, yet nonetheless seek a conduit to the cosmos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's not what I was looking for, though. No, no, 2 pages beyond.
2 pages beyond.
Yeah.
Listen to what he says here. This is great. This is my favorite.
Contents.
Yeah.
Preface.
Okay.
Oh. Yes. The universe is under no obligation to make sense to you.
Yeah, that's it.
Signed by you.
I just wanted to make that clear. So the universe is under no obligation to make sense to any of us.
Oh, good.
So I'll be saying
so not
things, and you'll say,
Listen.
that doesn't make sense. Just remember what I just said. Okay? Okay. What we've learned.
You said the universe is not under any, it doesn't have to make sense to you. So I'm going to say some things tonight that's going to make you say, what? That doesn't make sense. Then you need to remember what I just said. So he's the only one who understands. It's not going to make sense to us. It's under no obligation to. So when he says things that make no sense, and we say, hey, that makes no sense, we have to remember that the universe doesn't have to make sense to us. So we should, just him.
There's one thing that comes to mind. Babblings of an old fool.
Exactly. That the universe is what we measure it to be.
Oh, thank you.
Not what we want it to be, not what feels good, not what only has to make sense to our 5 senses. Our 5 biological senses forged in the plains of Africa, 1 million years ago, 500,000 years, what's the latest the biologists tell us, is those senses to prevent us from getting eaten by a lion are very different from what you need to grasp the universe. And so this is why mathematics is so potent, because it takes us out of our senses and enables us to still probe the reality of what the universe is.
Wow.
So
thank God that because we didn't get him out of evolution fast enough. Thank God for Neil deGrasse. What would we do if we'd still be running from the antelopes and trying to get away from the lions? And this guy he knows the distance to the stars. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, but remember, we are all byproducts of stardust and and so.
It's actually the most beautiful thing ever written or thought about, is that we're all exploded star guts, which is amazing. It's the first time. Well, I was gonna say it's the first time that something ever exploded into something, but it actually happens every moment of every day, everywhere. So it's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. You know the answer to this one, Flatzoid? I'm gonna quiz you right now. Can you point to where in the sky the Big Bang happened? Do you know what their answer is?
Just follow the CMB. Follow the CMB.
They actually have an answer for this. Do you know what their answer is? It happened everywhere.
Wow.
You can't point anywhere in the sky and say the Big Bang happened there, because they say it happened everywhere. All right, guys.
But that's counterintuitive though, because if let's say you have shrapnel from, let's say, a mine, there is a point of origin. So you need a point of origin to claim everything.
Right, but there is no point of origin because there is nothing existing when it exploded. So where are you going to point? It had to happen everywhere.
Wow.
And then everywhere became everything. And it's really elegant. I believe in it. All right, guys, we are out of here. We'll see you tomorrow, 3 o'clock, Jeranism show. Be there. And then do we have a class? No, we have class the following week. All right, thanks, Flatzoid. Appreciate it. Guys, we'll see you soon. Hit me up on Telegram if you need to, t.me/Jeranism, and become a VIP. WHOP.com/Jeranism. Till next time, can I find the outro? There it is. Peace.
Yeah. Yeah. It was nice just hanging out. Now go and hit the bell. Share it with the homies so that they could grow as well. They missing out. Jaren leaves no doubt. If you know what we bout, it's never for the clout, don't fuck around. Hey, not for the clout, that's too cap, be calling them out. Balls get flat when you cover the route. Jeranism all in your mouth. Truth gets lost like all on the couch, but it's time to get up and make them get out. Uncover the route. Jeranism, we are the crown. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe is falsified. Space is spinning DFI, all just scientism lies. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe is falsified. Space is spinning DFI. All just scientism lies.
Who this be? What he about? You stay spinning, he said out. About flat earth, it's flat out. He's still standing when you pass out. Globers pound, screaming, shout. He can turn you inside out. Yeah, surface deep, he's felt throughout. And he stay grounded, you spaced out.
We gotta run nowhere when we come fact check your facts and match your data. Concept is too abstract, what matters? Try to tune in, but the note get flatter. Tell me I'm flattered. Flatter than pancake batter, now we landed. Jeranism, I'm your captain. Speaking, telecasting worldwide. Check the globe, it's falsified. Space is spinning, DFI. All just scientism lies. Telecasting worldwide. Check the globe, it's falsified. Space is spinning, DFI. All just scientism lies. You know equations to the things you make the symbols for, but ain't really explaining what the symbols for. They try to teach you things against the things we taught before. No point in arguing now, they don't wanna talk no more. Okay, got a bite of the truth and now it's certain. That's what life look like when your mind is certain. Okay, got a bite of the truth and now it's certain. That's what life look like when your mind is certain. Thanks to the east side, thanks to the west side, thanks to the north side, way down to the south side. Thanks to the east side, thanks to the west side, big ups to the north side, way down to the south side. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe, it's falsified. Space is spinning, DFI, all just scientism lies. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe, it's falsified. Space is spinning, DFI, all just scientism lies. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe, it's falsified. Space is spinning, DFI, all. Yeah. Yeah, it was nice just hanging out. Now go and hit the bell. Share it with the homies so that they could grow as well. They missing out. Jaren leaves no doubt. If you know what we bout, it's never for the clout, don't fuck around. Hey, not for the clout, that's too cap, we calling them out. Balls get flat when you cover the route. Jeranism, all in your mouth. Truth gets lost like all on the couch, but it's time to get up and make them get out. Uncover the route. Jeranism, we are the crown. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe, it's falsified. Space is spinning, DFI, all just scientism lies. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe, it's falsified. Space is spinning, DFI, all just scientism lies.
Who this be? What he about? You stay spinning, he said out. About flat earth, it's flat out. He's still standing when you passed out. Globers pound, scream and shout. He can turn you inside out. Yeah, surface deep, he's felt throughout. And he stay grounded, you spaced out.
We gotta run nowhere when we come fact check your facts and match your data. Concept is too abstract, what matters? Trying to tune in, but the note get flatter. Tell me I'm flattered. Flatter than pancake batter, now we landed. Jeranism, I'm your captain. Speaking, telecasting worldwide. Check the globe, it's falsified. Space is spinning, DFI, all just scientism lies. Telecasting worldwide. Check the globe, it's falsified. Space is spinning, DFI, all just scientism lies. You know equations to the things you make the symbols for, but ain't really explaining what the symbols for. They try to teach you things against the things we taught before. No point in arguing now, they don't wanna talk no more. Okay, got a bite of the truth and now it's certain. That's what life look like when your mind is certain. Okay, got a bite of the truth and now it's certain. That's what life look like when your mind is certain. Thanks to the east side, thanks to the west side, thanks to the north side, way down to the south side. Thanks to the east side, thanks to the west side, big ups to the north side, way down to the south side. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe, it's falsified. Space is spinning, DFI, all just scientism lies. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe, it's falsified. Space is spinning, DFI, all just scientism lies. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe, it's falsified. Space is spinning, DFI, all just scientism lies. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe, it's falsified. Space is spinning, DFI, all just scientism lies.